We are definitely Ngesi Radio, and most importantly, we are radio according to you, welcoming you back to the Valley of the Gods. I am definitely M.I. That is KY, that is Miss K to you, and a good afternoon to you, Pekaya. In fact, kubaphulaphuli nababukeli beKith Ngesi Radio, Diabulisa once more again, welcoming you back to the Valley of the Gods at exactly 20, in fact, 57 minutes after the hour of 12 o'clock, giving us roughly 12, in fact, 3, 3 minutes until the top of the first hour. Dia Namkela. And as promised, I might have delayed a bit, though going to Banake. Hey, technology is always not on our side. But as promised, we are definitely joined by a very gorgeous lady on the other side of town. And you are yet to see and find out who that is. And like I said, also, and you may see also in the Manake, we are definitely in conversation with a very gorgeous lady, and I want to say an award, in fact, multi-award winning fashion designer. That is definitely SINESIPHO NQWILISO, the mother of Sine NKQ, that is measures beyond infinity, right?
Correct.
Welcome back, Mama.
Thank
In
you
fact, it's
so
a welcome
much.
back because I feel like you've been here before, right?
Yes, I have.
Yes,
I have.
and Piwa, I believe, was the person that welcomed you with warm hands. And right now, Kukubusa Mucha, and just like, and then. So, Siyabulisa, Sithando Sam, how are you doing this afternoon?
I am wonderful. I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me again.
You.
It really is a privilege to be here again. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. And if one of mine, been fun, in fact, to introduce him, but I was just like, no, man, I don't think I'd do any justice in actually introducing you. And mhlambe kukho izinto that I might leave out and take ezinye hats away from you. And I don't want to do that. I'd really like if you would tell us more uba ngubani uSinesipho ngowaphi. Mhlambe, siyazalana, mhlambe singabakhaya. There's a lot that we may find in common, or even our viewers and listeners may find in common with you. In fact, gowangasekhaya, or in fact siyazalana, mhlambe ngumamthembu, mhlambe ngumamcethe, that type of situation. So could you kindly tell us more about uSinesipho and uba ngubani ngowaphi, and yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Miss K, for that. Kuba phulaphule ekhaya. Ndiyazibulisela ngalinje ngalanga. My name is Sinesipho NQWILISO. As Miss K has said, I am originally from Butterworth. Yes. Born
In the
Butterworth,
house.
but bred here in East London.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm based here in East London. I am a qualified multi-award winning fashion designer.
Love the fact that Kesana, you mentioned multi-award winning, and I think kubantu baseGcuwa and also mhlambe ezilalini and other places that ungacinga bafana basathelwa ntweni. This says a lot, and also I think you are definitely also a beacon of hope to upcoming fashion designers or nolali that really aspire to be fashion designers. And I think that alone, the introduction alone, says in fact it's very much possible. And I think also we are looking forward to diving also into that fashion designer. Says masklasi cooler about being a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, and whatnot. Fashion design is not something that we really are, I think, taught about or even, I'd say, encouraged so much about, because we see as if we think there is nothing there. But I feel like from just alone looking at your story, there is so much that can take away from that. And there's so much that can realize about uba une talent, and actually you have a love for something, that could also be a place of solace for you. So I really want you to tell us also bana udibana phi nento ene-art, udibana phi nento ene-fashion designing and all of that.
Okay. Well, basically, into fashion phakathi ndikhula ngayo from home. Then as I was growing up, I decided that I would love to become a fashion designer myself. That's when after matric, I went to Walter Sisulu University. So I am a product of Walter Sisulu University. And I've done quite a lot of work during my time, and I still believe that I have more to give back to the community. art-wise, basically. Um, I can safely say my creativity took a bit of a turn from what I thought it would be after me facing mental health challenges.
Yeah, yeah. And I xa usithi mhlambi you had the love for it from a young age. I'm sure ubungulaa mntana unonodoli ubathungela impahla because the best case scenario that you can think of a fashion designer is laa mntana kuthiwa yhu sana usine would always athungela impahla onodoli and all of that. Was that where it started from you for you or how it started for you?
Unfortunately, no. Or fortunately for me, it didn't start like
Yeah.
that. As a child, I was never umntana odlala unodoli
Yeah.
nje in the first place. However, as I said, ndikhula phantsi umthungo from my aunt. So ndikhula mna ndingulaa mntana obuya esikolweni kuthi makafake amaqhosha empahleni zabantu. So it was never about dolls for me, but yeah, I take a straight ebantwini.
Yeah.
And then I saw as time went by that I was rather interested in knowing more than having ubana kuthiwa mandenze imigobo okanye ndifake amaqhosha. I was now interested in learning the technique of using a sewing machine. So ndendla ngomosha ke, I don't want to lie. Ajiye ndodwa workshop, ndishiwe workshop kuthe uzawufika ubani azothatha le ipasela nomnye uzazothatha le. That would be my chance, but okay, the minute you walk out, I close the door behind you. Chobe vaya emachinini ndithunge into endingayaziyo kophuke neenaliti xa kubuya andazi nix. I don't know what happened.
Because what inaliti where how ibiphi? I have no idea about that, but I think most importantly I love the fact that yonke lanto turned out to be such a great thing for you and ikufikelelise kweli nqanaba ukulo ngoku to be a multi-award winning fashion designer. And I think kwinto yonke ke mhlambi ebesinoyicinga, like I said, you would first think about, oh okay, fashion designing mhlambi wawunguloo mntana udlala nonodoli ubathungesela impahla and all of that. But it's very interesting that it was from obviously family. Uyabizwa khafake iqhosha mani, and that's where everything started. Maybe they didn't even know that they were planting something kuwe okanye a love of something kuwe at the time. But ke, now that just turned into more than just you having uthando for fashion, but it turned into I guess a place of healing, a place of solace, a place of so many, a place of comfort. I mean, kwizinto that you may maybe have encountered ebomini. And udibana phi ke ngoku nento ze-mental health, because hayibo ngumntana otheni iluzo yohlala ekamereni yedwa. I mean, that's the kind of, I think, izinto esikhula xa ungumntana sezilalini ukhula phantsi kwazo okanye imeko okhula phantsi kwazo, because it's something taboo into your mental health ezilalini. I think it's something that still needs to be isasazwe and sifundise abantu ngayo, and I think we can only do that by starting exactly at this point. Mhlambe khona abantu abamameleyo that really are looking forward to actually knowing by yintoni into mental health. Umntanam ndimbona mani moods etheni, is it just moods, or mhlambi they can learn a lot from this conversation alone. So when udibana phi nento enento kwenza ne-mental health, when did you realize that actually mental health is something that's there, you know?
Okay, Miss K, for me, into your mental health, I encountered it, I think I can safely say between 2019 and 2020. At the time, I wasn't aware of it until 28 September 2020, I was diagnosed with Stephen Johnson syndrome. Then that's where it hit me after my diagnosis, that I was actually now dealing with more than just me thinking that, no, I have a headache like anyone else. It's beyond that.
Yeah.
And then, yes, I fight into Stephen Johnson syndrome, which was now after months of recovery. It was sort of like out of the way, but it triggered a lot for me. A lot changed. Umzimba wam.
Yes.
A lot changed mentally. A lot changed. A lot changed. I needed now to face changes that I wasn't ready for the next person to actually even face those challenges.
Yeah.
that's when I fell deep into depression. And that's when I learned and realized into about actually into your mental health, tina siyayicunza singabantu.
Yeah.
We have this norm of thinking that mental health challenges kungophazamiseke engqondweni.
Yeah.
Kanti that is not the case.
Definitely.
Depression, it's part of mental health. Stress, that's mental health. Anxiety, that's mental health. Zonke ezo zinto, and ezo zinto can be easily triggered by izinto that are within our daily lives,
Yeah.
and tina we are not aware of. As easily as izinto esizityayo, basically.
Yeah.
Those things can trigger into in mental health issues.
Yeah.
Those things can trigger stress. Just maybe by someone saying something to you, and then ucinge ubana you are okay with tone,
Yeah.
for instance, of how that person may have addressed you,
Addresses.
or in the manner of whatever conversation you were having with that particular person. Those things can easily trigger in this demands and mental health issues. And it's things that you now have to find ways to learn how to have coping mechanisms, and how to handling situations without offending the other person.
Yeah.
So basically, that's how I've been handling it so far. And unfortunately for me, at the time when I first got it, I was an employee of a very huge company, actually around the world, but I was based here in East London. It messed up with a lot, to a point where I felt I wasn't coping and decided to resign at work. But my resignation was more of looking into a journey of now focusing on my health as a whole, because I felt I needed to be in an environment or around people that I wouldn't have to now explain myself when I'm unable to deliver what is expected of me. Basically, I can say I closed myself into a cocoon because I was dealing with a lot at the time, and I didn't even know how to deal with those things. I went into therapy thinking that it would help, until I figured that therapy wasn't for me. Talking to the other person wasn't for me. We tend to think that therapy helps all of us, but it isn't. Instead, you have to now try to find within yourself that what is it that can be able to assist and help you. So for me, 2021, I was approached by usisibusi unotata. She is one of abantu abasebenza kakhulu kwinto ze-fashion apha based in East London. She is also a lecturer at Walter Sisulu University. She's also a co-founder of Eastern Cape Design Focus. So she reached out. I had worked with her a lot previously, and she does love my work a lot, and she supports my work. So she reached out to me in 2021, saying that there was a launch of Eastern Cape Design Focus. They want to do a fashion show and arts, like an infusion of both. Where now they want actually creatives to tell a story about how COVID impacted their lives, and I was like,
Sana, I'm already so excited about hearing now, ukuva from the journey from obviously you resigning and all of that into this new leaf and new chapter of your life. And I think actually season speaks to you in so many in so many ways, and that's why I actually play that song, because when I actually went back and looked about, because I was very interested in also just for myself, for my own good, finding out but kubani na usine, and what have you been doing and stuff like that. I saw one of captions zako, which you did caption the song or seasons. But I just really want us to take it back. Kanti, you were diagnosed. You say it's Stephen Johnson's. Is it a syndrome?
Stephen Johnson syndrome.
Okay. I know, and I think it's fair that also our listeners be aware in Dobana, aware of the fact that mental health is such a broad term and concept, and within that concept, it's like an umbrella, falls a lot of other things that we may maybe take for granted, and maybe when we may not even know, like you said, your depressions, your anxiety, your stress. There's just a lot. there's just a lot. And I really want you to just give us a glimpse or briefly about your particular experience with Steven Johnson's syndrome, and what causes it and stuff like that. I know, obviously, it's not even a matter of you're a qualified medical practitioner, but from your experience and also what you've been told by ogqirha bakho, mhlawumbi ukhona umuntu out there who is suffering from maybe the same thing, but does not recognize it or realize it. I know also kuba lula ba ukwazi urealize uba in fact the minute umntu mhlambi you don't know whether you've got stress, but umntu amention the same things that you're going through, and you now relate, but no man, this is exactly what I'm going through, and you're able. I know it's not also good and safe to self-diagnose. It's always advised to seek medical help, but mhlambi this could help someone. Can you just take us through Steven Johnson's syndrome?
Okay. Steven Johnson syndrome is a mucal deficiency membrane type of disorder that happens in your body. Steven Johnson syndrome basically ateka all the parts in your body.
Yes.
When the city ateka is on that one, Steven Johnson syndrome is a medical disorder, a medical reaction basically. Bukubane kutwe untu hayi une allergy reaction udumba amehlo ebetheni bethile okay une sinus type of vibe. Now imagine that 100 times more. Steven Johnson syndrome is a 1 in 100 kind of scenario where like 99% of people they don't get it. It's very rare. However, when you do get it, sube or react on medicine. Like I said, I'm a person who has been battling with headaches.
Yes.
For me, it started from a very young age. That's the other thing. In the headaches, it's very, very like something.
It's serious.
It's serious.
Yeah.
And abantu need to learn that a headache doesn't mean you have stress. A headache about that is nearly 10 years old. Abe a headache. And not just a headache, a headache is severe to a point yoba umntana can't cope with anything.
Yes.
It's a headache, it's there. And uyakwazi umthatha umntana umse kwi-specialist umane ukhangela uba kwenzeka ntoni and they find nothing, but the headaches are still there. That's my case for Umna. That was my case and still is. I've been battling with headaches so far. Ogqirha bathi nandipakanyelwa migraine and tension headaches. They all come together at literally one. Hence, I get the symptoms I get.
Yes.
Migraines are the kind of headaches that will make you now sensitive to light, sensitive to sound, sensitive to smell type of vibe. Now imagine now the tension being there as well. Tension you're now, that's where now you get to feel that iskal is like ingathi khona umuntu
sikrashayo
yabo ngathi sifuna ukreka. That's how you get to feel when the headache is really there. And fumanise sometimes iyathanda uniphatha mna apha kwimedula oblongata. Fortunately for me, ezinye izinto, even my doctor sometimes gets to be shocked xa ndiva ndizithetha athi you're a fashion designer, uyazilapha imedula. And I'll be like, ezinye izinto, I think as a person of curious, I'm a very curious-minded person. And yes, back in high school, I did study biology. So
and I believe if that's the case, you were the person who studied because you wanted to understand.
I enjoyed biology. So as new terms, disaster from way back. Now I get to from out of curiosity, think okay, structures and the textbook. It wasn't down it. So so basically that's how my mind functions. And I'm also a person that's an overthinker. Being an overthinker can also temper with your mental health. Overthinker akayoside.
If you want to speak to me directly, because at this point Yeah.
So umntu overthinker laa mntu akayo-psycho okanye narcissist okanye ntoni as uba abantu bezawutsho xa bekulabelisha.
Yeah.
It's just the society not being like aware of ezinye izinto ezenzekayo okanye ezinye izinto abazithathi serious yabo until umntu umehlele yena.
Yeah.
So basically, in 2020, after many years of trials, treatments for these headaches that I had been getting, ndafunikwa a treatment 2020, and then after about a month of using ezinye iipilisi mose ukuba uyaqaphela allergics thathile iyakozela.
Yes.
However, now ikhona allergics engakozelisiyo. Time is
because your body like gets used to the medication.
Times evolve, yabo. So xa ungumntu noko observayo umzimba wakho uzobona uba xa ndisele iPanado ndiba right, but xa ndisele ipilisi ithile into zethile, yabo. You get to observe. So I had always, as a person who's curious, I had always been cautious and curious ubana xana kwendisele into ethile zithini side effects ezenzekayo emzimbeni wam, yabo. And then even when I go for my doctor consultations, I would say, okay, ipilisi ethile ngicela unganiki, ndandikhe ndayinikwa ngugqirha othile and yandiqhuba olu hlobo, and I didn't like that. And it would even now temper with ilantuka my performance, even at work, yabo. So ngicela sitry any alternative. So that was the case in my case. 2020 ndanikwa i-treatment, ndayithatha le treatment for about a month, and then one day, out of the blue, like any other day, Sina wakes up, goes to work, and then as one is emsebenzini ndandisenzaziyo uba uzawuthi unentloko.
Like girl inentloko.
Uzawuthi unentloko and enentloko nje yena unari, une-nosebleeds, type of vibe, all because of the headaches. But that day, kwaba kwinto ethi, I am not going to go to my manager ndithi ndinentloko. I'm going to work through the day. Zanyamezela le ntloko. Mane ndisiya ebhekini yam thatha medication. Not knowing ubana me taking the medication are making things worse. But because I was not aware. Then nditshayise emsebenzini ngo-5. Go home. Xa ndifika endlini, fike ndibe ndicomplaina le ntloko. Yazi oko ndinentloko the whole day. Even medication amakwingancedi namhlanje.
And I'm thinking at this point it's really has become such a norm for you, but you know, but oh okay, and then I take meds and then maybe I feel better. Yeah,
but so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna have dinner and then sell the medication. When I wake up the following morning, hi boo, girl can't open her eyes. I can't open my eyes. My mouth is swollen. I have like sores and like.
Oh my god.
Ingathi ziphi ndiqonde noma ngiqalwa yi-fever. You know, but can't go.
And also, it's so easy for us to take lightly izinto that we think they are like uzobane zilanda mhlambi emlonyeni, and it's just like, oh okay, you know.
Type of vibe. And then I'm like, hey, noma ngiqalwa yi-fever. But then I think let me rather go to the doctor and my dear GP. I take a selfie, send to my manager, but look, andizokwazi uphangela ndivuke ndinje. Then I go to the doctor, I took her, hey, there's a very bad flu that's going around besides COVID. So une symptoms zayo. Gives me medication, go home, bed rest. Xa ndivuka ngengomso, I'm worse. Now the blisters have turned pink, yabo. Hayibo. Then I go back to the doctor. Doctor, kwenzekani ngoku? Hayi, sayilaphi. Fever is very bad. No, but you caught it very bad.
Sana.
Nazi enye medication. Nazi ne prescription khayothenga ezi zinto. Now, this is day 2. I spent about $1,000 on buying medication only, besides the consultation fee and everything. Ndithenga le medication, I'm getting injection left, right, and center. Then pin in your rest ending. But the funny thing is that now I get worse by the hour, and I'm not getting any better from yonke lento. Now, iqalise uba okay, now I kunhlungu to even swallow. The rash has spread to my hands. Now I have pink dots ngathi ndingupolka dot opink ezandleni. Kwenzeka ntoni? And then kubekho a friend that ndandihlala nayo at the time athi ubana khame khe ndiyobuza kugqirha ubani bani.
Also, I think that speaks to also the importance of, I think, having people around you
Having
that,
people around
yeah,
that abakhathalayo.
yeah, and also in the spirit of mental health, since it's also Mental Health Awareness Month, I think those are some of the things that we could highlight as important. Domana. Your support system and the circle of people that you have around you, they're very important. And also, just listening to the story of how everything unfolded until to probably the point where you got diagnosed with the syndrome, and then you had to take a step back and be like, okay, right now I need to take care of myself. I need to look into the things that actually affect me and affect my mental health, and also the extent in which it goes. Because, for instance, I'm sure that was the body's way of responding to the pressures and everything else that you were feeling, to say, brah, you need to take a break. You need to take a break. But I just want us to now go to the point where everything took a turn. Now you get a call that obviously leads to the new leaf of your life, where you're just like, okay, now probably Disemnyango, where Cine and KQ, that is definitely measures beyond infinity. Take us through that journey, and also how has everything incorporated together with you using fashion designing as also your place of solace, your place of healing. And I think healing is a journey. It's a journey, and not to say necessarily there were any hurts or anything like that, but generally taking care of yourself and being able to recover from izinto mhlambi that when you look back, you're like, okay, I wasn't really taking care of myself, and I needed to slow down. Take us through that journey.
Okay, basically, it all goes back to the diagnosis, right?
Yeah.
And then remember I said, Miss Notata reached out to me. And then now where the basically infusing the two, or me finding healing through my creativity, it was not something I planned.
Yeah.
It just happened. Because when she reached out to me, she didn't know what was happening. No one knew besides my family.
Yeah.
She reached out, and then we had a meeting where she was explaining the brief that they had as the Eastern Cape Fashion Week. And then I said to her, she knows I'm a person who always challenges briefs. I never go by the book. I always like to go sideways. That's just me. I don't like doing something that everybody else does.
Yeah.
So I said to her, how about I give you something better? And then she said, what's that? Because we are dealing with COVID right now.
Yeah.
I said, don't worry. I don't know how to explain it to you, but I
know.
feel like once I start doing it, then you will get it, and you will understand exactly what I'm talking about. And then I sort of like briefed her about what was happening to me at the time.
Yeah.
And also she didn't know what Stephen Johnson syndrome was, like everyone else, because the minute I mentioned Stephen Johnson syndrome, a person would be like, Stephen what?
And possibly mhlambe associate her with a disorder of some sort, but okay, you know, like your Down syndrome and all of that. Hence I'm saying it's also very important for us uba sikwazi uzifundisa about the umbrella, ukungene kula umbrella and actually explore and see uba zindoni ezikhoyo pha as also izinto that are part of the mental health, you know. Yeah.
So and then after ndimgile kuye, I put my mind to it, and then I was like, how about I tell a story about what happened to me, because I had reacted from Ipilisi, which was carbamazepine.
Yes.
And then I wanted to tell that story instead of COVID. And I felt the story was also relevant because it happened during that period of COVID. Yeah, and then remember at the time, then I am therapy. Safe. So then one day, and I just started collecting all the pills that I had been taking. And then I started reaching out type of vibe.
Yes.
And then I was like, I don't know how to explain it. I don't even I'm not planning it. I
Yeah.
just know that
That you know
ifuna
you want to do
iipilisi
this.
ezi-expirishileyo. My mind is telling me that do this.
That is
And
beautiful.
then ndayithunga ilokhwe ndayinxibisa unodoli, and then trust me, from the moment ndiqala ufaka ipilisi yokuqala ngeglue on the dress, I spent almost like 90% of my time egarage ndizivalela phaa day and night ndifaka ipilisi kulaa lokhwe, telling a story, writing notes ndizipaster on the dress. And then by the time I finished working on that dress, I felt like there was a weight lifted off my shoulders. And then there was the day I was like, you know what? I think I've found a way to deal with
That's
this
it
thing.
for me. That's it for me.
I felt when my voice was now coming out, because
Yeah.
ndandingakwazi uthetha ngayo at the time. Now, the minute a person would ask, Sina, how are you feeling? How are you doing? I would break down.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what was happening to me.
Yeah.
I didn't know what this syndrome was.
Yeah.
And
Why it's happening.
all I know is that right now I just want to die. That's all I wanted. Then I understand, well, I'm exposed to COVID because I was a high risk.
Yeah.
Then I understand why I'm COVID, because I really wanted to die.
At this point, I feel like you owe us that dress. Like, you should have actually come to stitch you with it. Because I am so curious and I really, really would love to maybe see it one day. In fact, a picture. After this, a picture of that dress. And I think this speaks so much to actually the fact that, one, there's a lot of things that you can use as izinto mhlambe ongazisebenzisa uncedisana nohambo lwakho lwe-healing. And also there's a lot of coping mechanisms that you can find apart from therapy. It's also very important ubana ke ufumane ba wena what is it that works for you, because antidepressants may work for me if I've got depression, but they may not work for the other person. I think that's the biggest takeaway for me at this point. And also the fact that really focus on finding what works for you. And because of ixesha ndifuna nje sishwangathele to anyone else mhlambe out there ofuna uyazi okanye rather ofuna uva nje something that, because mhlambe there's something that they're going through, whatever it is pertaining to mental health. What is it that you would I like to say, and maybe just to encourage them. We're not advising or anything, definitely, but it's a word of encouragement that is a phenomenal pause to anyone else or call you who feels unheard, who feels like they can't express themselves because you can't, when you lack emotional vocabulary to say this is what I feel. Like Kusichuba, now that's something that you struggled a lot with to express yourself, but fashion was that one thing that you were able to express yourself. So sicela nje amazwi of encouragement before siyivala.
Okay, Miss K, I think I can say to viewers at home, or rather the listeners at home, if you're an adult and then umntana that is dealing with izinto, because it happens nasebantwaneni, now they doing izinto that you find as ubana abanye they attention seeking. They get involved in drugs, or they start cutting their wrist type of vibe. Now I always advise umntu ubana sumbetha.
Yes.
Sumshouta.
Yes.
Sit down with the child. Ummamele ubana kwenzeka ntoni. Become friends with the child, because if uyamshouta ewe ungumama yakhe okanye ungutata yakhe, but if uyamshouta okanye uyambetha uzawukhawuleza benalanto yoba I can't open up kumama because umama uzandibetha. I can't open up kutata because utata uzandibetha. So try to gain their trust so that akwazi ukuxelela uba yintoni leni yingxaki, and try to find solutions for loo nto leyo. And if ke usowumdala noko kanjengathi, I would advise again, I'm not an expert in this field. Now I learn day by day.
It's your journey.
Uyabona uba ndingakwazi njani ukhopha nazo izinto ezenzekayo on my daily life. However, I advise to find that one thing that can help you cope, or rather find that one person. You don't need to tell zonke ingxaki ezenzekayo, but you need to have a safe space or a safe person that you can confide in.
Definitely.
Now, for instance, I know there's one friend of mine that any time of the day, no man ngamfonela ngo-12 ebusuku, I feel like crying.
Yeah.
Uzayiphendula ifoni
Yeah.
and uzandifonela and masilile.
Yeah.
And then after sililile, athi my friend kwenzeka ntoni. Even ndithi andiyazi, I just felt overwhelmed. Uzathi masilila akazondijaja uqhubane.
Yeah.
You need to have a safe person. You need to find yourself something to do as a distractor from whatever is bothering you at the time until you are able to find solutions. The solutions azizuthi overnight. It's a journey. You need to learn how to now make each and every step of it ibe into that is fruitful, and try to stay away from ukuzibulala. Uzibulala is not a solution at all.
Oh.
It is not a solution.
No one could have said it.
Even I thought it was a solution, but it is not. Instead, you just need to find ways how to get better, how to cope with it, how to not weigh your problems, basically.
Love that. Thank you so much, Sine, for actually gracing us. Your presence, Yako, and so much information. I think a lot of us may relate to your story and your journey, kwizinto ogqithe kuzo, owing that to the fact that a lot of us are going through so much. And I think a biggest takeaway that myself I've taken away from this conversation alone is the fact that you need to definitely find a safe space, be it a person, be it something that you can do, ukuze uthi get away from the stresses of ubomi and all of that. And also it's very important to pinpoint by indoni wena that works for you, because like we said, it may not be therapy, but it may be something mhlambe SSP or something that you do, and when you do that you feel a form of comfort and a form of relief that comes over you from whatever it is that you're feeling. And also the fact that it's a journey. Don't rush yourself. Be kind to yourself. Ngamazwi ke lawo sinishiya nawo xa kanye sivala le nyanga, because today it's actually the 27th of October, sizabe siyivala in a few days to come. And I really want to say thank you so much for ukose visitor apha at the Keith Ingesi Radio, and also to our listeners and viewers at home. Thank you so much for tuning in on the in fact, not K Drive, because wow, it's not even 3 o'clock. It's still the invasion with myself, with MIWSKY. That is Miss K2, but for namhlanje, we're definitely ending it there, and I really hope everyone else out there has learned their lesson and maybe has learned something from this conversation.